Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Please watch, like, and subscribe. Globalization and global cities. Globalization and global cities. What is a global city? How did globalization take place? So, globalization and city, the development of Hong Kong as a global city. The characteristics of world cities. The hub points in the global network are world cities. The term world cities was first coined by Patrick Geddes in 1915, and he defined them as places where world's business was done. Definition by John Friedman, 1986. World City Hypothesis, in which he defined world cities as basing points in the spatial organization and articulation of production and markets. Two major sites for the concentration and accumulation of internal capital. Third, centers of corporate headquarters, international finance, global transport and communications, and high-level business services. 4, points of destination for both domestic and international migrants. Definition by Saskia Sasse, 1991. The global city identified them in 4 ways. First, key location for finance and specialized service firms, which have replaced manufacturing as the leading economic services. 2, sites of production, including the production of innovation in leading industries. Definition Number 3, highly concentrated command points in the organization of the world economy. 4, markets for the products and innovations produced. Cities concentrate control over vast resources, while finance and specialized service industries have restructured the urban social and economic order. Not mere outcomes of a global economic machine, but specific places where internal dynamics, culture, and social structure matter. Size of production, Sassen argues global cities are not only modal points for the coordination of process, but particular sites of production. Sites of production, the production of specialized services needed by the complex organizations for running dispersed network of factories, offices, and service outlets. The production of financial innovation and the making of markets, both central to the internationalization and expansion of the financial industry. Understand it as place where certain kinds of work can get done. Get beyond the dichotomy between manufacturing and services. Things a global city produces are services and financial goods. Differences in global cities. New York is more decentralized and multipolar urban system. Tokyo, with a little of the cultural diversity of dynamism. London has a long history of a colonial imperial city. Second tier global cities, little consensus in the global city literature. Prideman 1995 identifies Miami, Los Angeles, Frankfurt, Amsterdam, and Singapore as a second-order centers. Young and Law 1997 include all the big cities in Asia: Seoul, Taipei, Hong Kong, Manila, Bangkok, Kuala Lumpur, Singapore, and Jakarta. Cities which are competing for world city status are called wannabe world cities. Global city, an ongoing competitive struggle, and the inherent stability of this system. Three major aspects of global cities. A. Command centers. Number one, control, command, and management centers regulate global manufacturing production, financial transactions, producer services, and telecommunications network. Second, transnational corporate headquarters house the crucial institutions of economic globalization such as stock markets, advertising agencies, and teleports. Third, centers of cultural hegemony, concentration of cultural festivals like music, film, or dance festivals in New York. Socio-cultural infrastructure. Amin and Thrift, 1994, identified three important elements. First, centers provide the face-to-face contact needed to generate collective beliefs. Second, centers are needed to enable social and cultural interaction, that is, to act as places of sociability, of gatherings information, establishing coalitions, maintaining trust, and developing rules of behaviors. Third, centers are needed to develop, test, and track innovations to provide a critical mass of knowledgeable people and socio-institutional networks, centers of representation, interaction, and innovation. Social polarization, winners and losers, the richest and the poorest members of society, increasing capital intensity of production and large-scale immigration of foreign workers. The paradoxical relationship between the growth of finance and producer services and the increase of an informal economy in the cities. Services sector produces a large share of low-wage jobs than manufacturing does. New concepts like dual cities or divided cities to illustrate the fact that world cities contain the extremes of wealth and poverty. Example in Hong Kong, what is this? But what is this? This is a home of an old woman. She was living here at least 6 years. Can you imagine that an old woman still using woods for cooking just beside a university, not an empty, and in Hong Kong, such as affluent society? Disproportionate flows of skilled international migrants, huge cross-border movements of financial specialists, banking professionals, managers, and high-tech talents in global cities. Process of professionalization versus process of polarization. The depiction of New York by Castells 1993 can be best summed up. Wall Street may make New York one of the nerve centers of the global capitalist system. But this dominant position has a dark side in the ghettos and barrios where a growing population of poor people lives. Major cities along the Asia-Pacific corridor, the new sites of global manufacturing production, a regional city system, Young and Law 1996 called this as the Asia-Pacific Functional City System. A function city system is a network of cities that are linked often in a hierarchical manner based on a given economic or socio-political function at the global or regional level. Asia-Pacific Urban Corridor stretching between Tokyo and Northeast China via the two Koreas to Malaysia, Indonesia, and the Philippines make up the East Asian Regional City System. Cities networked into the functional city system have not developed uniformly. So on the top of the urban hierarchy include the major capital exporters, example Tokyo, Seoul, and Taipei. Major industrial FDI recipients, example Jakarta, Shanghai, and Bangkok. Two entry pots, Hong Kong and Singapore. Some cities serve as tourist cities. Global city formation is a continuing and varied process. Asian scholars develop their own views of studying global cities in the Pacific region. Thank you.